What's up, guys? Welcome back here, and today I'm back for another video, and this time we're going to be talking about some potential James Harden trade ideas. Now, the reason for this video is because James Harden has been slacking off, not showing up to training camps, and he said that if he does get traded, he wants to go a contender where he could potentially win the championship. And he gave a list of some contenders, which included the Sixers. So what type of trades would the Rockets potentially want to see that they may potentially accept, that the other team gets the superstar James Harden that they want? So watch the video to find out. But before we start, you already know it's going to be a banger, so make sure to drop a like on the video. Comment down below any new video ideas. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. At 72 right now, to go to 100 by the end of the year. I feel like that's possible. Now let's get started. So the first trade is going to be with the Philadelphia 76ers. And I did want with Ben Simmons, but I heard that the Sixers would not trade Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid, so try to work around that. And potentially the Rockets may accept this deal. The deal is James Harden and PJ Tucker to the Sixers. In exchange, the Rockets get Tobias Harris, Terrence Ferguson, Matisse Thybulle, Tyrese Maxey, a 2021 unprotected first, 2024 first, and a 2027 first. That leaves the Sixers lineup to potentially being James Harden, Seth Curry, Danny Green, Ben Simmons, and Joel Embiid. He's going to be able to create for Joel Embiid inside. He's going to be able to space it out a little bit for Ben Simmons to find him, as he's been working on catching and shooting. He's going to need a ball a lot, but he does have good two catch and shooters next to him along with Ben Simmons, and them in transition will be way too scary. And as for the Rockets, they'll likely give John Wall a backcourt pairing with Tyrese Maxey to develop their young guys. And then we're either going to have Matisse at the 3, Tobias at the 4, and Christian Wood at the 5, or Tobias/Matisse at the 3, Christian Wood at the 4, and Boogie at the 5. I think the first option will most likely happen. But it'll be a good squad to build around, potentially help John Wall revive his career with a good catch and shooter, a good inside beast in DeMarcus Cousins, a guy who's able to space the floor, and Christian Wood, and developing to a hopefully breakout star. Maybe John Wall can get revived, maybe even be a low-key 8 seed if possible. Probably not, but they have a chance. Maybe John Wall gets flipped for good assets instead of being treated as a bad contract. The next trade I have is with the Brooklyn Nets, and it's going to be James Harden and PJ Tucker going to Brooklyn. And in exchange, the Rockets will receive Spencer Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, Taurean Prince, Rodion Kurucs, a 2021 first, a 2023 first, a 2027 first, and a 2021 second. So the Nets lineup will most likely look like Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Joe Harris, PJ Tucker, and DeAndre Jordan. Having those 3 stars and a good catch and shooter and a good lob threat and inside presence would be really good for James Harden and for Kyrie Irving, and help ease. And since KD's easing back, he'll be able to catch and shoot a little bit more while still be able to create a shot if needed. And as for the Rockets, they'll likely have a lineup of John Wall, Karis LeVert, Daniel House, Christian Wood, and Jared Allen, with having guys like DeMarcus Cousins, Spencer Dinwiddie, Eric Gordon come off the bench. It'll be a really deep squad, and with the stack of picks they get, they could potentially use upgrades or help develop a team in the future, and maybe give Karis LeVert a good amount of the keys so that he could develop into a star. The third trade I'm going to have is with the Toronto Raptors, and it'll be James Harden and Bruno Caboclo going to Toronto. In exchange, the Rockets will get Kyle Lowry, Norman Powell, Terrence Davis, Matt Thomas, the 2021 first, and the 2023 first. Now, Raptors fans, you may not like they have to give a Kyle Lowry and think about his value way too high. Remember, he's really old. He's expiring. And if you get a chance to get a star like James Harden, you should probably be willing to give up Kyle Lowry. I know it hurts, but I think it's worth it if you get a star. And I'll leave their lineup to be Fred VanVleet, James Harden. At small forward, you'll have OG Anunoby. Then you also have Pascal Siakam and Aaron Baines. That's a really good squad in the East that can potentially break through and make the finals with a Harden and Siakam duo. Baines, who's been working on spacing the floor and could help out James Harden well and give Siakam more room. And then you got a good third option in Fred VanVleet, who'll be a beast, and OG Anunoby, who's my pick for most improved player. I feel like he's going to have a breakout year. I feel like that'll be a scary squad. And as for The Rockets, would they start Lowry and Wall backcourt duo? I don't think so. I think one of them would be the sixth man. I don't know who. Probably Wall, since he's easing back from injury. Wall probably sixth man, and you'll probably have Lowry and Norman Powell start in the backcourt with House, Wood, and Boogie, and you'll work it out from there. But getting a guy like Terrence Davis, who you could really develop in those two first, along with a perennial all-star player in Kyle Lowry, would be really scary for the Rockets. The next trade I have may surprise you, and it'll be the Atlanta Hawks, because this year is Trae Young's chance to prove that he can be a number one option on a really good team. And if things start out bad and he gets upset, they potentially may try to go big to get the start to really get Trae into the playoffs. And we'll have James Harden going to Atlanta. In exchange, the Rockets will receive Tony Snell, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Kevin Huerter, Onyeka Okongwu, a 2021, 2023, and a 2026 first-round pick. So that leaves the Hawks lineup to probably basically stay the same. It's just that you replace your shooting guard in Bogdan Bogdanovic / Kevin Huerter with James Harden. Trae, Harden, Reddish / Hunter, Collins, Capella. If you don't tell me that's a scary team in the East, you must be smoking, bro. That team is way too scary. And then on the flip side, you have the Rockets, who'll have Onyeka Okongwu to build around. You'll have a good shooting guard in Bogdan Bogdanovic, another young shooting guard, Kevin Huerter, and 3 first-round picks. I don't know who has star potential, but maybe Onyeka Okongwu becomes a beast, Bogdan Bogdanovic becomes an offensive specialist, and Kevin Huerter becomes one of the best snipers in the league. That would be a really scary squad for Houston, and really puts them in rebuild mode. Potentially flip John Wall, flip Boogie Cousins, and give the keys to the young guys. The next trade I'm going to have is with the Denver Nuggets. This is the Denver Nuggets need that really big upgrade at shooting guard after making the Western Conference Finals to push them over the edge to probably make the NBA Finals. And that'll be James Harden going to Denver, and in exchange, the Houston Rockets will receive Gary Harris, Will Barton, Bol, RJ Hampton, a 2021 first, a 2025 first, and a 2027 first. So the Nuggets lineup will be looking like Jamal Murray, James Harden, Michael Porter Jr., Paul Millsap, and Nikola Jokic. Paul Millsap's a great catch and shooter who can play defense. Jokic is an elite playmaker who's also able to knock down threes. You got Jamal Murray who can knock down threes. You got Michael Porter Jr. who's really good at knocking down threes. That makes it easy for James Harden, and it can take the workload off of him because any one of them could create their shot, except maybe Paul Millsap. But any of the other 3 can create their own shot and find good teammates. And defensively, other than Paul Millsap, it's kind of questionable, but Michael Porter Jr. has defensive potential that he just needs to untap. And as for the Houston Rockets, it leaves them with a lineup of John Wall, probably Gary Harris, I'm guessing is going to be starting, maybe RJ Hampton, maybe you start Daniel House or Eric Gordon too, I'm not really sure. They'll probably have a battle for the shooting guard spot. Small forward, I'm guessing Will Barton's going to start. At power forward, maybe you give Christian Wood the power forward and maybe develop Bol to be that starting center who can play a little bit of the power forward if you need Marcus Cousins in the game. He could be a really good beast that no one may know about. And those first round picks are going to be really useful, and the development of RJ Hampton is going to be crucial to hopefully become a stud like he was supposed to be a couple years ago. The second to last trade is going to be with the New Orleans Pelicans, and this one may surprise you. As I said, he wants to get traded to a contender, but I think with this move, the Pelicans could really become a contender. And I'll be James Harden and PJ Tucker going to New Orleans in exchange for Eric Bledsoe, JJ Redick, Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, a 2021 first, and a 2023 swap best Lakers first. And with this deal, that leaves the Pelicans lineup to probably you're going to have James Harden at the 2 with Kira Lewis at the 1. You'll get the keys to Kira Lewis at the point guard of the future as Lonzo's expiring. Eric Bledsoe is Eric Bledsoe. And yeah, you know the rest. And at the 2 spot, you'll have James Harden, and you'll also have Brandon Ingram. You'll still have Zion, and you still have Steven Adams. That could be a really scary team if you really think about it. You're losing a lot of guard depth with this deal. So hopefully bringing in a veteran like PJ Tucker makes up for it, and maybe you can find a good trade, getting a good backup guard to hopefully lead your second unit Either you're losing Lonzo Ball, you're losing Eric Bledsoe, you're losing Nikhil Alexander-Walker, you're losing J.J. Redick. That's a lot of guard depth that you can really use. But this starting five would be way too scary, and if Kira Lewis really develops, this squad could be a real threat in the West. And as for the Rockets, they're going to get a lineup of probably John Wall. Maybe you put Lonzo at the 2, you test it out, but it'll likely be Nah or Redick at the 2. And then you'll have Daniel House at the 3. You'll still have your 4 and 5, which is Wood and Boogie. And hopefully that squad can still be decent. You're going to have to make on the breakout of Lonzo Ball. But I hope he signs a cheap deal so you can continue to develop him as you flip John Wall and give him the keys. And hopefully he can become a star that he was supposed to be. And the final trade is going to be with the Boston Celtics. And you may be surprised, like the Celtics would never do this. But if they want to go big, they would go big for a superstar. And this is it. James Harden going to Boston in exchange for Jaylen Brown, Romeo Langford, Grant Williams, a 2021 and a 2026 first round pick. Now with this deal, the Celtics just get a huge upgrade at shooting guard. After getting James Harden, an upgrade from Jaylen Brown, the fit may not work as well because James Harden needs the ball a lot in his hands and it could hinder Tatum's development. But a potential duo of James Harden and Tatum could be lethal. And then for the Rockets, you get yourself a young stud in Jaylen Brown who you could develop to be the star of the future. You get a bunch of young depth in Romeo Langford and Grant Williams who you could develop to be quality starters. And you get 2 first-round picks. I think this would be an amazing deal that the Rockets would definitely accept. I think the Celtics, if they really want to go big, they would accept this deal too. What do you guys think about these James Harden trades? Comment down below your opinions, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Peace out, guys.